1914 to 1918 is the period of World War I. So during the World War I, how was India? This First World War started in 1914 between Britain, France, Russia, one side, Germany, Austro-Hungarian Empire, Italy. These are one side. So two groups. One is a triple entente, another one is a triple alliance. Britain, France, Russia. This group is called triple entente. Germany, Austro-Hungarian Empire, and Italy. They are triple alliance. So between these two groups, a big major war started that spread to all the countries of world. So it is called World War. It began in 1914 and ended in 1918 with the defeat of Germany. Nearly 5 years war continued with a finally it ended with a defeat of Germany. This world war resulted unprecedented human sufferings and destructions. That the human sufferings and destruction happened due to the World War I is beyond the calculation. So this is called here World War I. So here after the end of World War, a new era started in the world with revolutions. Revolutions had begun in Europe continent after the end of World War I. So here a socialist revolution took place in Russia after the end of World War I, a socialist revolution, which is also called Russian Revolution. What that? Russian Revolution. Okay, in 1917. So it is based on socialism, that is communism. So it is called socialist revolution. In this revolution, peasants participated, workers, soldiers, all these group of people guided by the communist leaders guided the peasants, workers, and soldiers. With these group of people, communists have formulated Soviet groups, and with the support of these people in Russia, they had ended the rule of the emperor. Whose rule? Emperor rule. Ended, disposed the emperor. That means they removed the emperor, and also ended landlordism, that is a feudal system, and also ended private ownership of land and factories. So these all were ended. In Russia, emperors are called Tsar, Tsar. Emperors in Russia are called Tsars. So Tsar's rule ended with a communist revolution took place in Russia by 1917, and this revolution also ended landlordism, private ownership of land and factories in the nation. In Russia, they advertised equality among nations and freedom for all the nations. It means during the World War One time, many of the nations belonging to Asia, Africa were under colonial rule. So Asia and African countries were subjected to the colonial rule, and they were in a situation to come out of the colonial rule. They want freedom from the colonial rule. So here, Russia, which ended the Tsar's rule and established a socialist government there, that what we call communist Russia. After the communist revolution in Russia, Russia stated that all the nations should be equal in freedom. So it advocated that it would help those nations which are under colonial power. So in India, the war brought great sufferings for the common people. During the World War One time, our Indians were used by Britishers. Britishers tried to increase the funds and resources for war. They were in World War One. They were engaged in World War One, Britishers. So they want funds and human resources to deploy them into at war site. So they want a lot of funds. So for raising funds and resources, they what to call use the Indian resources. There was a shortage of food supply to the Indian people. All Indians have got limited rice, very little one, because the rest of the food grains supplied to the war field for soldiers. And the resources, our Indian people also worked for Britishers as soldiers, understand. So for all these things, the Britishers have raised funds and resources. This given a lot of trouble to the common people, understand. So here they raised the taxes on the items, what to call it is exported items to the European continent, and items imported to the India. Whatever Indian people are buying, even on the food also, which is a basic and very important thing, on that also there was tax. So exporting the food and other necessities to the armies, they need fund. Army is at World War One, so they need food and other necessities. That is about medicines, then what you call cloth, all these things required for army people. So to get all those things, they the government, British government raised taxes So that given a lot of suffer to the Indian people, and this great suffer faced by Indians made Indians to feel unhappy. So there was increasement in the discontent in the sense unhappy. Okay, Indians were not happy. What to call by the British rule instead. So at this time, we see that the news of the Russian Revolution in Russia, czars were terminated. There, Russia established a new government based on working people. So that success of a Russian Revolution spread to the India. So the Russian Revolution have motivated the Indians. Okay, it inspired Indian people, and what to call it motivated the Indian people how the Russian people got freedom out of the czar's rule, and such a motivation also made Indian people to believe that they can also get freedom out of the Britishers. Understand? So it inspired the people that unjust rulers can be got rid of, and a society can be built with equality and justice for all. So what is their British rule was there in India. So British rule was unjust rule. That means it is not a fair rule. They tortured Indians. They exploited us, right? They used us. So it means their rule is not a justified one. So their rule was unjustified. So we can throw out unjust British rule by raising an independent struggle. Okay, this is the motivation we got from the success of the Russian Revolution. Okay, and we can get freedom from the what Britishers by raising the revolution, and there would be equality and justice for all. We can build a new society where equality and justice will be given to all. So everyone expected that British would accept the demands for democratic rule in India, or Indian people believed that Britishers would accept the demand of India. What was the demand of India? That is a democratic rule. In India also, we want a democratic rule where all people are treated equally. Believed that they would accept our demand. Britishers would accept our demand. What was our demand? Establishing the what democratic rule in India, right? So Britishers, what to call, they did not accept this. Instead, we thought that Britishers would accept our demand, but they did not accept our demand. Okay, instead of accepting our demand for democratic rule establishment in India, Britishers introduced harass laws. Harasser laws. What do you mean by harasser laws? The laws which suffer, which create suffer to the Indians. Instead, such a what to call a law introduced by the what Britishers against the what Indian people, as we demanded the what democratic rule in India. Understand? So under these conditions, which conditions? Under the Arash conditions, when Britishers imposed Arash conditions in India, when we demanded, okay, that discontent of the people further increased. We were we were very sad and unhappy with the British rule. Understand? Though we supported the British in World War One, they did not accept our demand, and we were very unhappy. Then what happened here? No, Mahatma Gandhi, who was practicing his law in South Africa, he reached India after 1917. He reached after the end of the World War One. Mahatma Gandhi, who was practicing his law in South Africa, he returned to India in 1915. He returned from South Africa. After that, in 1918, he studied the situations in India and joined Indian freedom movement. That means from 1919 onwards, Mahatma Gandhi entered into the freedom struggle and started guiding the freedom movement. So from 1919 to independence of India, that is 1947. From 1919 to 1947 is the last phase of the freedom movement. That period is very important, in which Gandhiji chalked out the program for achieving the independence. So we call it a Gandhian era. What we call Gandhian era. So freedom movement consists of three phases, right? That is early phase is there, then moderate phase is there, then what you call last phase, that is the Gandhian era. So later Gandhi entered after the end of the World War One in freedom movement. So what happened after entrance of the Gandhiji, we will see in the next class. Okay. Till then, we'll see some of the important things. What happened on the day of partition of Bengal? We know that Lord Curzon, a British officer, Vice Governor General Lord Curzon, announced a partition of Bengal, and that partition of Bengal started on 16th October 1905. Partition of Bengal was announced in 1903, and it came into force by 16th October 1905. Okay, so what happened on the day of a partition of Bengal? On the day means which day? On the 16th day. Okay, on 16th October 1945, what happened in India? Okay, so when Britishers partitioned the Bengal into two parts, that day throughout the India, especially we see in it Bengal, they maintained this day as a mourning day. On 16th October 1905, at Bengal, people observed 16th October as a day of mourning, not mourning, mourning. See, a day of mourning, MOUR. It means sad, a day of sad. So what are the activities they carried on this day, on 16th October, right? So throughout the Bengal, nobody cooked food in the home. Everything was halted. Shops were closed. Marketplaces were closed. It is like Bandh. So in Calcutta, a hartal was declared. In that hartal, people took a procession. Procession means a rally. They walked near to the Ganges river without chappal. Okay, they took bath in Ganges river in that morning. Then on the streets they moved with singing Vande Mataram. Hindus and Muslims, they wanted to show the unity against the partition of Bengal. So they went near to the Ganges river. There they took a bath. After that, they moved in the streets, singing the song Vande Mataram, and they tied Rakis to their hands, each other. Rakhi is a symbol of unity between the people of Bengal, who divided into two parts by the Britishers. Understand? This was taken on 16th October at Bengal. Okay. Later, so next day on the 17th October, Ananda Mohan Bose, Surendranath Banerjee, these were the leaders. They conducted two mass meetings, and in that meeting, 75,000 people attended. And this Vande Mataram is written by Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. Look at the photograph of Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. Okay. In Telugu, it is called Vande Mataram. In Bengali language, it is called Bande Mataram. Bande. In place of V, you should keep what you call B. That is called Bande Mataram. Bande. 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 Bande Mataram. This is so people tied the Rockies and shown what their unity. This is what you call an activity, what you call the action, the counter action of the Indian people against the partition of Bengal. So what people, Indian people have done against the partition of Bengal means this they have did it on 16th October 1905. Okay, so this is the one. And another important newspaper is there which played very important role during the freedom struggle. That is Krishna Patrika. Which one? Krishna Patrika. This is okay.